So for this particular problem, you have been asked to create a distribution of 7 scores with a mean of 10, and you need to have exactly 2 scores above the mean. Right? So we want our mean to be 10. Right? We need 2 scores above the mean. I'm just going to put 1 score at 14 and 1 score at 15. Okay? So we're using deviation scores to do this. So a score of 14 is 4 above the mean of 10. A score of 15 is 5 above the mean. Right? So in total, my deviations above the mean are equal to 9. Right? And remember, your deviations above and below the mean need to balance out. Right? So what I could do is I need them to balance out. If I just go 9 below the mean, I'd be at 1. 1 is 9 below the mean. That gives me -9 below the mean. So I realize the problem says you need 7 scores. I have 3 right now. But if I add a score at 10, the deviations for 10 are equal to 0, right? Because 10 is not away from the mean at all. If I can just add 4 tenths, it has no effect on this, right? My deviations above and below the mean balance out. I have 9 above the mean and 9 below the mean, and 7 scores with exactly 2 that are above the mean. Right? So there are other ways to do this as well. I could just as easily start with 2 scores above the mean. Let's say that I put 2 scores at 12. Okay? So I have 2 scores at 12. 12 has a deviation of 2, right, because it is 2 above the mean. And I have 2 of those. My total deviations above the mean are equal to 4. Okay? Right, so I also need to have 4 below the mean. So 10 is the mean. If I go 1 below the mean, I'm at 9. So deviation score for 9 is -1. So if I put 4 9s there, I now have -4 below the mean. So I have 4, 5, 6 scores. I add a 10 there to get me up, because 10 again has a deviation of 0, and that gives me up to the required 7 scores. Okay. Do it one more way. There are lots of different ways you can do this, right? And so let's just say this time I'm going to put 1 score at 13 and 1 score at 11. Those are my 2 scores above the mean. 11 is 1 above the mean, and 13 is 3 above the mean. So in total, my deviations above the mean are equal to 4. Okay? So I need 4 below the mean. So I'm going to, in this case, just put 1 at 6. 6 is 4 below the mean. Right, so my deviations below the mean equal 4. Then I'll go ahead and put 4 10s there. Those deviations add up to 0, so I end up with my deviation scores balancing out in the distribution.